Hi, everyone. So it's Deborah here, and On the Bookshelf has now moved. We are in video format. You can still get the print format on my website at debmusso.com. It's on the blog. But for those of you who don't know me, I'm an engineer with an MBA, and I've been doing finance for the last 23 years. I started in corporate America, but once I moved to San Francisco, I started working with entrepreneurs and small businesses, and I got hooked, and I've been doing that ever since because, you know, it's a whole lot more fun to steer a small ship and make it go fast than it is to try and turn the Titanic. So, anyway, this week on the bookshelf is this lovely book here. Sorry, it's finance month this month, Beyond Blessed by Robert Morris. So, why this book? I understand that the author is in trouble now for something he did 40 years ago. So, this is not about the author, this is about the book. Beyond Blessed is actually the second book of two books that this man wrote. And it's just a really, really good finance book. That's why I'm recommending it. I read it like a year or two ago, and I just thought it was phenomenal. He's got some really good points and different points of view on money and how to look at it. So that's why we're going to talk about this book. It it agrees with and models a lot of the stuff that I teach in my financial fitness class. So, what is Beyond Blessed? What does that mean? It's actually his second book, including A Blessed Life. A Blessed Life was based on generous giving and talking about how great it was to give. But he said a blessed life is really a two-prong, or I don't want to say a ladder with two pieces, right? Two legs. You got to have both legs. You can't be a generous giver until you're a good steward or a good money manager. So if you're not money managing your money correctly, you don't have anything left to give. So everybody wants to give. Well, most good people want to give. But in order to do that, you have to have money or time or other resources to give because it's not just about money, it's about everything, right? I mean, I spent the last 23 years working with small business owners. I help them make more money, keep more money, pay less in taxes, and then they go to a financial planner, and the financial planner puts their money in garbage investments that doesn't earn much, has good high commissions. It helps the financial salesman or financial advisor, but it doesn't really help my clients. So I want all of you to be educated and understand how much is coming in, where your money's going, what it's going into, what it's earning. Because good stewardship and good money management is not just taking care of what you have, it's stewarding it, it's multiplying it and making more. It's the parable of the talents in the Bible. Are you doing something good with your money? Are you doing something good with your talents, with your time? Or are you burying it under the sand and just letting it rot, basically? So, anyway, I'm off topic again already. So, back to the book. There's 3 points I want to mention from this book. Number one is his point of view that we don't give to get. Some churches teach that give and you'll get more. And that's true because you cannot give God, but you don't give to get. That's not the reason for giving. We get to give. We get to give. That's completely backwards from the way some of us have been taught. And how do you get this in perspective? Well, one, God owns everything, right? I mean, God made the earth, He made you and me, He made all the minerals, all the animals, all the plants, everything. He made the earth, He gave us dominion. It's our job to manage things here on earth. That includes our time, our money, our people, our resources, and the resources of the entire earth. The other thing about we get to give, giving is fun, guys. It's fun. I mean, you make somebody's day when sometimes you're just giving a hug or a smile to that worn out, waitress or the flight attendant. And sometimes, you leave a big tip. Sometimes it's an older person in a restaurant and you see them sitting by themselves and you buy their lunch and you do it blah, without telling them who did it. You just tell the waitress and you grab their bill and you pay it for them and you make their day. You guys, that is so much fun. And then sometimes it's big, huge things like, maybe you give someone the money to get their business started or, loan, not loan. Sometimes you give away an old car or something like that, or a used car. Sometimes if you're older, they're in very, very good shape with low mileage. So anyway, giving is fun, right? It's a lot of fun. It's better to give than to get. You have to be in a position to give, which comes back to money management. You guys, money management is a skill that everyone can learn. It's just basic math. Everybody can learn it, everybody can do it. But you have to be willing to learn and know how to do it, and you have to be willing to do it. I know the tricky part, right? Some of you avoid it like the plague. That doesn't help. But if you can't manage 60 or 80 grand a year, you can't manage $250,000 a year, you can't manage $2 million a year. So saying, well, when I make more money, or if I made more money, I could do this. No, 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 no. Let's go back to the beginning. Make the most of what you have. Whether you're a one talent person, a two talent person, or a five talent person, make the most of what you have. That's point number one. Point number two, put God first and everything else will fall into place. Let me read you Matthew 3:6 so I don't mess it up. But seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added to you. Because money makes a poor God. I've been working 25 years in this industry, and I've seen people go up and down. I've seen businesses shoot up and down, and I've seen their relationships get ripped apart. I've seen people just go after the money, after the money, after the money, and they're never satisfied. They're never happy. There's always one more business to buy. There's always more equipment to buy. There's more women to have. There are more cars to buy. Blah 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 blah. More outfits. It's just more and more and more. You never get happy. Greed will never satisfy you. So don't go after the money. And for you youngsters coming out of college and you're like, oh, I'll take this job because it's got the most money. Take the job because you want the job. That's the best advice the CPA ever gave me. Take the job because you want the job. Period. End of story. The money will come later as you do a good job and do really well there. And if you aren't promoted there, you'll go to another company that appreciates your time and talents. But anyway, take the job because you want the job. I'm preaching and teaching from my class. But anyway, you guys, everybody worships something. Even the people that say, oh, I don't believe in religion, I don't worship anything. Well, yeah, you do. Watch people on TV or online. They worship their money, they worship their body, they worship their status symbols, they worship all kinds of things. Put God first, and it keeps everything else in perspective. It keeps you grounded. It lets you take control of your money instead of your money taking control of you. So back to the third point, or that brings me to the third point, which is living within your means, which was really connected to point one, right? You got to have money to give. If you're a bad money manager, I know I already said this once, but if you can't manage what you have now, you're not going to manage 200 grand or $2 million. You're just not. So the sooner you learn how to deal with your money and manage it, the better off you are. So how do you do that? That brings us to the B word, right? So, and you guys understand this book, it is good. So what is the B word? BUDGET, 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 budget. So this book just has a couple good points in a really good story. But understand this book was written from the point of view of an employee or somebody on a fixed income, like a retired person. So to you small business owners out there, I know you, and most of you don't have a budget. You don't want a budget. You don't want anything to do with a budget. But you still need to know what your overhead is, and you better know what your monthly spending is, both for your company and your personal. You need to know those numbers. Guys, know your numbers. That's number one in financial fitness. Know your numbers. So yes, can you go make more money? Yeah, but growing your business requires time, energy, money, and a good marketplace for your particular business or industry. So those don't always happen when you need it or at the same time. So for your small business owners out there, watch your debt levels. You need to watch your debt. I know when it's cyclical, everybody I know has a credit line. That's just, it's there for your backup and that's okay. But small business owners, watch the debt level because your debt and your cash flow is what usually takes you out of business. I'm off topic, not off topic. That's related. But anyway, back to the little book, Beyond Blessed, right? Something about the budget. Here's the definition of budget that I like because you guys, most of us hate budgets. It just sucks. It sounds very restrictive and sound like it's like restraining you or holding you back, right? And no one wants to be held back. This is his definition of a budget. A budget is telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. Let me say that again. A budget is you controlling your money, telling your money where it's going to go instead of spending it all and wondering where it went. Another viewpoint of budget much better one. A budget is a detailed plan that reflects your goals and values. Think about that, guys. Because if you don't have a budget and if you're not putting your money where you say it, if you're really living out your values, your money goes where you want it to, where with what you really, really value. So are you valuing that savings account? Are you valuing getting rid of debt? Are you valuing the college education for the kids? Or are you valuing what's on sale? Or, ooh, that looks cool. I want it now. Yeah, we'll get to that instant gratification thing in a minute. But anyway, a budget, instead of being the bad guy, sometimes he can be the bad guy, but it helps rein you in a little bit when you need to be. A budget is telling your money where it's going to go instead of wondering where it went. And it is a detailed plan that reflects your values and goals. So is your budget or your monthly spending reflecting your goals? That's a good question to ask yourself. So the author recommends having Mr. Budget in your house. You know what else this does for those of you that are married? You know, sometimes I see two spenders in a family. Sometimes we got two savers, which is the easiest one to deal with. Almost always there's a spender and a saver. Well, if you have a budget, you can start blaming each other. Instead, you create Mr. Budget and it's Mr. Budget's fault. So when the kids say, hey, mom, can I buy that? No, instead of blaming it on dad, you say, no, Mr. Budget says we can't do that this week. Or Mr. Budget says we can't do it this month. Then dad can use Mr. Budget as the reason. Mom can use Mr. Budget as the reason. And you're not beating each other up or blaming each other in front of the kids and just say, no, Mr. Budget doesn't allow us. I thought that was really good. So there's a really cute story in this book. So I know, you guys, I don't condone what he did, but it was 40 years ago and he was 20 years old. So he was a dumbass and possibly abused himself. So this is still a really good book. Don't let it keep you from the book. The story in this book, and obviously it's from years ago, right? The family had set the budget and it was very strict and there was not a lot of eating out, which is good. That's one of the easiest things to get rid of, right? It's one that really is expensive and can waste a lot of time and money too. So mom is taking the little girl, the family with the budget, mom's taking the little girl through the McDonald's drive-through. This is how long ago this story was. This was back in the day when McDonald's had Happy Meals for $1 on Tuesday, but you didn't get the toy. So instead of getting the little meal with the toy in the box, you didn't get the toy, but it was only $1. So that was the deal. So mom's going through the drive-through and the little girl's in the back seat. And mom's like, you want your Happy Meal? Yeah, yeah. But the little girl said, Mom, can I get a toy this week? And then mom's like, no, Mr. Budget says no, not this week. So there's dead silence in the back. All of a sudden, the little girl speaks up and she goes, Mom, I wish Mr. Budget would just die. I'm like, okay. Yeah. We all had times. I remember getting out of grad school and having student loans up the yin yang and trying to pay those off and not being able to go out to eat. And it's not a lot of fun. But you guys, you get through it. To you youngsters paying off your loan, you get through it. It's just the time of your life. Don't ask for the $1 million house 2 years after you get out of college. It's not realistic. And that kind of tells you how far we've come from those days when most people had budgets and we didn't get everything we wanted. We didn't have the instant gratification and order something and have it at your house 1 to 2 days later all the time, 7 days a week. Some of you youngsters, you kind of need to go back to those days because you don't have everything you want right after you get out of college and you have student debt. It's just a phase of life and you'll go through it and you'll be fine. Toughen up, get rid of that debt, and you'll be better off 5 or 10 years down the road. So that brings me to the next point, which was a startling thing in this book. And he came right out and said, basically, credit cards are a Ponzi scheme. If you don't know what a Ponzi scheme is, I'm not going to go into it here. Anyway, when you're using your credit cards and you're not paying them off every month, you are basically stealing from your future. Yeah, you're stealing from your future when you're running up the credit cards and not paying them off. And I understand the last 4 years, 2021 to 24 were dismal for most middle class and lower income. Yeah, the stock market was at an all-time high and rich people were having a great time. And most people making under 100 grand a year, it just sucked. Gas prices, food prices, everything, people having to choose which one of those they could do and which one they couldn't do. That was horrific. And we'll get into the Federal Reserve later. That's a whole nother story. But anyway, thinking of credit cards as a Ponzi scheme puts them in perspective. And hopefully, if you have debt now, you can come take my get out of debt class or do something. But you can get all kinds of tools online for free. Get out of debt. Tackle your debt, guys. Get rid of the debt. And that's brings me to the next thing is credit cards are Ponzi scheme. Think about our country right now, the United States of America. We have an all-time high debt of 36 trillion. You can go look at the national debt calendar and see that little ticker thing going up every single second. Scary. So we need to do something drastic. Congress has not had the guts, or no president has had the guts in 30 years to tackle our debt. So God bless President Trump and the tariffs. I hope that fixes the problem. So you guys, it's a negotiating process. It's going to go up and down, up and down. Just hang in there, be calm. It's a short-term thing that's going to fix a very long-term problem. But we can't keep kicking it down the road because, like most debt, it's snowballing and snowballing and snowballing. And our national debt is like 10 to 20 years away from an avalanche that we won't recover from. So we need to tackle it now. Okay, back to the personal side of things. Not just our country's in debt, but personal debt in America is at an all-time high. Americans are carrying 18.2 trillion with a T, trillion in debt. Now, 13.2 is housing debt, mortgages, second family homes, rental properties, whatever. And 5 trillion with a T, is non-housing debt. That includes credit cards, automobiles, student loans, all that good stuff. All that not so good stuff. You guys, it's not sustainable. It's just not sustainable. It's time to become financially sound and get your financial house in order, because if you want to have a good future, you got to tackle your debt and get rid of it. So to wrap this up here, to have a blessed life and be free from financial strain, you need to do some financial planning. And I don't mean meeting with an advisor that's going to pick some investments for you. That's not financial planning. That's financial salesmanship. That is going to be another video another day. So anyway, but you by yourself or with your spouse or family, however many people are in your main family, not your extended family. Anyway, the steps in this book are the same as in my class. Know where you are right now. Know where you want to go. You know, your GPS doesn't work. If you're at point A and you want to get to point B, you don't get there without directions. So know where you're at right now. Know where you want to go. Have a vision. Sit down, dream again. Some of you are so far in debt you can't even dream anymore. Dream again. Have a vision, even if it's just be debt free. If not, it might be find a better job. It might be start a business. It might be pay off your student loans, whatever it is. Set a vision, a big vision, and then set your goals. Set your goals. And then you're going to make an action plan to reach those goals. And like anything else, if you have accountability and assistance, it makes it a whole lot easier to get there. So that's what he talks about in his book. And that's what I teach in my financial fitness class. So if you need help, check out my classes at debmusso.com. If you want, if you want the quick, easy version, grab the book, get the book, regardless of what he did or didn't do. This book is really good. So you guys get fit, get financially fit and be free. Jesus did not come so you can be in bondage. Debt is bondage. It is. Not knowing where your money go is financially ignorant. And if you are ignorant, you are an accident waiting to happen. So don't be that accident. Get to enjoy life, be debt free, have that stress gone, but also then you're capable of giving. You're capable of doing what you want to do, being, if you're called to do something, you want to take the summer off and go on a mission trip, you want to donate a car to somebody, someone's doing something, you want to write a check for 10 grand for their charity, then you can do it. You can't do that when you're in debt. So to become a generous giver, you have to get your financial house in order and be financially fit. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Anyway, grab the book if you want. If you don't want, you can just watch this video and check out my website and calendar because I will be having in about 2, 3 weeks. I'll be having another webinar or challenge. You can come, it's always free. Just come get some free information and some handouts and go from there. So, anyway, be blessed. God bless you. Have a great evening. I see you next week. Bye.